So now we're going to turn our attention to our Guru's message for us this week. This week, our Guru's talking to us about something, that I think a lot of the world really doesn't fully understand a lot, right? Guru's talking to us this week about heaven, right? Everyone wants to go to heaven, right? Well, in spirituality, I think it's pretty important that we understand what is this heaven that we're talking about. Nature, science, spiritual experience, religion have all indicated this idea of this thing we call heaven. And in the spiritual idea, or maybe that we could, some people say the religious idea of heaven, well, that is, well, we could say, we could break that down and say that there's a psychological heaven, an astral heaven, and then there's a metaphysical heaven. Right? And today, our Guru is going to talk about these three kinds of heaven: the psychological, the astral, and the metaphysical heavens. So, the first kind of heaven that we're going to talk about, well, is what our Guru calls this uh, psychological heaven, this idea of heaven. Right? You see, someone could be troubled enough in mind to create an inner place hotter than hell in their mind, right? In their heart. Uh, uh, on the other hand, the the durably qualitative happy mind could be called a heaven. The happiness of a Christ or a Joan of Arc, which does not lose its poise even during death by torture, is heaven indeed, isn't it? A psychological heaven. That heavenly peace of mind that is acquired by lifelong psychological discipline is attained and retained beyond death and follows the eternal soul into the after death state. That's why we're hearing as above, so below. For persons who become established in unshakable faith during life, they find that psychological heaven on earth. And then they also enjoy that same state when their soul passes through the portals of this temporary change that we call death into the realms of changelessness. Next, let's speak a little bit about this more common heaven that people seem to understand or hear about. I should say, we hear about heaven. Really, now we're talking about the astral heaven, right? You're going to die and go to heaven, right? Well, the astral heaven is a land or a region or a dimension or a consciousness, a dimensional consciousness, a land of electrons, right? Where the material cosmos consists of certain grosser vibrations of electrons all around us here, all this stuff, right? It's a very different land, a very different place indeed from the astral heaven. The inner cosmos of the astral world consists of luminous counterparts of everything, every outer manifestation of the physical world, right? That's the astral heaven. For example, a finger in the astral world is 1,000-mile long river of electrons, right? In the mansion of eternal space, the astral counterparts of every material object exists as huge or small electronic shadows, electrical shadows. The size uh, being controlled by the operating will of the soul. Just the same way as motion pictures can be made large or small on a screen. Right? Guru tells us that the world of light lies behind the darkness of closed eyes. Right? We even see that in Luke 11:43, I think. You see, our eyes are blinded by the material light vibrations, right? And the absence of our inability to see that seems like darkness to us. But behind that darkness, behind the darkness of closed eyes, lies that electrical astral heaven where the astral bodies of human souls, well, they kind of resort, they take a vacation, a good rest in peace after death of this physical body, right? And enjoy a temporary freedom from the so called tortures of life. In Genesis 1:7 in the Bible, we read that God created heaven and earth and divided them by the firmament. The firmament. We also find in Genesis 1:8, and it says, God called the firmament heaven. Wow. Firmament is that space, which we could refer to as that that pearly white boundary of the astral realm. Behind the spatial wall of this firmament lies those finer electrical forces of the astral realm, right? A vibrational sphere where there is no collision of solids, liquids, and gases. That's not happening there. You see, there in the astral realm, the astral world, where all souls go after death, here, this physical death, there, their astral bodies eat light the same way that we charge batteries here on Earth. They move and they have their being in light, as light, right? Playing in what we could call them super moving pictures, right? That are very real to sight, very true to hearing, right? And even true to touch. Below space, the subtle vibratory elements are gathered together and condensed into physical forms that we know here on Earth. And science tells us, science proves that all matter is just the condensation of various electrical vibrations. Science is finally catching up with the ancient rishis a little. You see, the limitations of our physical senses exclude from our vision that electrical astral heaven. In other words, it's vibrating at a rate that our eyes just can't see, these physical eyes. We don't hear everything that's going on in the universe. We hear just a tiny part of what's going on because our ears can only hear within a small frequency range. Same with our eyes. We're only seeing the teeniest part of this cosmos because most of it is vibrating beyond the frequency, beyond our ability to see it. Now, developing the eye of intuition, on the other hand, which sees beyond the senses, then one can tunnel through that pearly gate of space and behold at last for their very own self the astral world, the astral realm. So it is right before our eyes. But where do we read it in the Bible? Where it says, seeing we see not. That's what it means. We have eyes, but we're not seeing that. All matter is indestructible. Science has proven it. Nothing can be destroyed anywhere in this universe. And everything is changeable electricity, right? Well, someday, by operating the inner spiritual eye in our heads, we shall behold this unseen reality someday. Well, we call it heaven because unlike the earth, all desires, all desired changes in the astral realm or in the astral bodies can be affected merely by willing, simply by will to do so. Earth people are not taught and therefore have not learned the mental, biological, and electrical connections of their causal, physical, and astral bodies. They don't know about this yet. And that's why they are unable to change their physical bodies at will, say when they get sick or something like this, or hurt or damaged. We've just forgotten how to do it. And no one teaches how to do it out there in the world. They don't teach that anymore. That's what we do here at our Awakening Consciousness Fellowship. So, in heaven, a sick, pale, astral body is made well simply by making it more luminous, by simply pouring more electrons into it. And how? Simply by willpower. Here on Earth, by tensing and willing, we can also energize this physical body to a great extent. Right now, you can do it if you learn how. Right? If you press your eyes with the fingers gently, don't hurt your eyes, but you'll probably see sparks and flying lights and stuff like this. These are astral currents. And this reveals the proof, the existence of the astral world. You see, a dead person doesn't see stars when they're hit in the head, right? Because there's no life force in there to see. And when you get hit in the head, what do you think you're seeing when you see those stars? You're not seeing stars out there. You're seeing stars in here. Your third eye is seeing stars inside your head, right? That's astral light that you're seeing. Flashes of the astral world. First, we talked about that heaven on earth, that psychological heaven, and it might not be very long lasting. Next, we talked about this astral heaven, and that lasts until the cosmic dissolution of all atoms. Some call it Noah's flood, right? When all solids are melted into liquids, all liquids into nebulae and electrons, and space swallows up matter. God's materializing will, right, condenses energy into this physical cosmos. And with God, withdraws God's will from it. All things will melt back into God. The the that physiological law of this material world kind of contaminates the astral realm. That's why God keeps them separate. So next, let's talk about the third kind of heaven, the one that I think we should be mostly interested in, because that's this idea that heaven is wherever we are. We can take heaven with us everywhere and be in heaven all the time, right? The metaphysical heaven, consists of psychologically combining all forms of human love, love of neighbors, race, and animals, all creatures, all into one universal impartial love. And transcendently, and beholding the sphere of eternity and feeling the changeless current of bliss and the omnipresent being of Source. One who really experiences this can actually feel God's consciousness in everything, right? That's attaining that metaphysical heaven, right? Creating a portable paradise. You see, heaven is not some place where we're going when we so-called pass away. That's the astral realm. You see, we can find heaven right here within us and project it all around us and take it with us everywhere we go. We can have a portable paradise. I think we really need to find heaven within us. And our Guru teaches us how to increase our intuition, establish that intuition, so that we can see that heaven. That's our Guru's teachings. So that then everything you ever wanted can be given to you. In that kind of heaven, there's no old age, there's no death, there's no sickness, right? There we become one with the Source, one with our Creator. You see, we experience this world through the five senses of taste, touch, smell, hearing, feeling. In heaven, everything is experienced through intuition. That's why our Guru guides us to meditate often and deeply. In that state, we can develop what we call our sixth sense, our sense of intuition, our sense of all-knowingness, right? We're not only these bodies of flesh, blood, and bones. We are the spirit within this body of flesh, blood, and bones. brothers and sisters, there is a heaven waiting for you. And the best way to get there is by developing your intuition through intense prayer and Kriya Yoga, God uniting meditation. Right? In this way, we develop our intuitive ear, our clairaudience. Right? Well, suppose you're dreaming of something wonderful. Right? You're seeing it, you're smelling it, you're tasting it, you're hearing it, everything that's going on. Yet you're 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 not using your eyes, your nose, your mouth, right? If you're picturing yourself cooking a spaghetti dinner, you smell that spaghetti, but there's no spaghetti cooking. You're driving a nice car, you feel it, right, in your imagination, right? And you can see it with your eyes closed. How is this? How are you doing that? Did you ever wonder? Well, you're doing it with your intuition. You're doing it with intuitive feeling. When that feeling is highly developed, why, you can reproduce an actual replica of the world. You can develop superior senses by which you can actually cognize the other worlds. Right? The dreamland is a reflection of heaven. Right? Just as a horse and buggy will take you a long time to get you anywhere, and an airplane will get you there in just a few hours. So then, if you follow and live Kriya Yoga, study and practice Kriya Yoga as taught by our Guru in his weekly Kriya Yoga lessons, well, then eventually you will, in fact, realize heaven in this life. Our Guru Paramahansa Yogananda shows us how to create this, what I've been calling a portable paradise, right? A permanent portable heaven that goes with you everywhere you go, all the time. Heaven on earth lies in a self-controlled mind, in an unshakable, ever-new peace that is attained through Kriya Yoga concentration. This is the first heaven. The second heaven is that electrical, astral cosmos that, well, that is a kind of a light shadow copy of this creation. And then, of course, uh, our guru says someday maybe we might even invent a tool to help us see this. And this third or metaphysical heaven, right? That lies in the ever increasing peace felt in deeper and deeper God communing meditation. Right? It, it is felt in a limited way in the realization of this individualized spirit, right? This self-concentrated soul here, and is perceived in an unlimited way by that expanding soul that unites with universal spirit in everlasting, omnipresent, omniscient, immortal, ever new bliss, which is what we're all really seeking. Brothers and sisters, true heaven is found in uniting the little life with the life in all, in extending sympathetic understanding to all, and uniting human consciousness with cosmic consciousness. and in blending human joys with the pure joy of all hearts and the joy in all of creation, every speck of creation. So, brothers and sisters, our Guru is reminding us that none of us are going to die. We're souls, we're eternal. We cannot die. However, we can move from one realm to another. And moving from one realm to another, well, that's what we here on earth refer to as dying. But we will be coming back with our companions of destiny and after we spend a little time resting in the astral realm, right? But heaven can be all the time. You don't have to wait until you so-called die. We can live heaven right here on earth, right? And if it's something you want to know more about, well, that's what our Guru really teaches about. And we've just touched a little bit on it here today. If you want to really know about it, we should get together and talk about it so that you can really understand this idea of heaven and creating your own portable paradise permanently and living as our Creator designed us to be. Our Creator created us to do that. So let's share together in a beautiful reminding prayer from our Guru's book, Whispers from Eternity, one of my favorites. It is entitled, Dreaming, I Thought I Was Awake. As we rest and wake a little to slumber again, so from beneath the coverlets of fleeting dreams, of experiences, we rise for a while, then fall asleep again, to dream again of yet another chapter of earthly struggles. On the sleigh of incarnations we slide from dream to dream, dreaming in a chariot of astral light we roll from life to life, dreaming in a vibrant physical vessel tossed by alternating waves of life and death. We sail uncharted seas, becalmed waters of indifference, whirlpools of activity, eddies of laughter, inexorable swells of mighty outer effects, all dreams. It was only in thee, Lord, that I awoke. Then I realized that thinking that I was awake, I had been only dreaming. Thank you, God. We love you. Oh, powerful words to ponder from our Guru. And again, if it doesn't make sense, let me know. I'll help you because my hope is that this helps you. That's what I want to do. If there's any way that I can possibly help